My cursor went over the button. I went live before I even knew it. It happens. It happens. Hi, everybody. I'm way early, at least 4 minutes early than I usually am. But here's what I want to talk about today. Maybe because it's been so much on my mind as I've been with my own clients and with myself in the last bit of while. So John Gottman, who is a couples therapist, has this research lab that he works with in the University of Washington. And he has done this incredible research with couples where he puts them in what he calls a love lab. And they both videotape them, audio tape them, and have all these physiological sensors on them. And they are with these couples for 24 hours. And they watch them, and then the graduate students decode and quantify everything that goes on in there. It's very specific. It's quite incredible research. And the long and the short of it is, out of all that research, one of the main things that they found that makes a couple's relationship work over time is the ratio 5-to-1. So those are the numbers I want you to keep in mind. 5-to-1. Now, what does that mean? What they found with couples is that for every negative, difficult thing that happens in a couple, you needed to have 5 positive things to balance that one. Now think about that. You need 5 things, 5 positive moments to balance out that one negative. It blew my mind in all my relationships thinking about that, but it also blew my mind in terms of healing and how complicated that can be. So think of your own mind, as I have to think about my own mind, is if I think about the things I say to myself to like push myself, get myself going, to motivate myself, sometimes they're not that pleasant, right? But do I, for each of those one things, do I then balance it with more positive things? Do I say kind things to myself? Do I practice self-compassion? Do I offer myself some warmth, some understanding? Do I look for all the good things that have happened, as well as that one negative thing I'm saying? And I gotta say that knowing that I did training with John Gottman probably maybe 15 years ago, it was a long time, but that one thing has really stayed with me and helped me. So when I'm working with myself, I spend a lot of time exploring, what can I do that's good? How can I create a buffer zone of more compassion and more kindness? Right, Andrew's saying, or goodness, I hope so, right? So that we can actually deal with the complications of life, because we all know life is complicated. It's difficult. It's hard. Life can be hard. We don't want it to be, but it can be. I mean, we're going to have good times along the way, but for many of us, it's really this process of building a solid internal ground. And that comes not from beating ourselves up or taking us down or like really feeling badly about ourselves. It's more about building what's positive, what's nourishing, what's good, seeing the best in ourselves, seeing the best in other people, reducing the number of times we blame or judge or criticize. Or if we catch ourselves in it, like, okay, so I did that, so let me spend some time figuring out what might be better or what could be good, or how could I support myself in a more satisfying way. Some of you are joining me on the self-compassion retreat that I'm doing this Saturday, and it's going to be 3 hours. And the reason why I do this is really for myself, but it's also to spread the connection and spread the wealth of it, is to build ways for all of us to remember, to return to those states of more ease and more comfort or more goodness. We do know without a doubt that the more we give ourselves those things that are healing, happens faster and it's easier. As we move through life, as we deal with life, it's so much easier to be with kinder approach, a gentler approach, instead of these harsh, demanding, overpoweringly painful ways that we interact with ourselves at times. Now, of course, I'm speaking for myself. Maybe you don't do that, but many of us do. Many of us do. So how do we bring that other sense to ourselves? So that's what I wanted you to keep those numbers in mind, 5 to 1. So maybe a practice for today would be when you catch yourself like doing something or saying something internally to yourself, or hearing one person say something like you didn't do it right or you didn't whatever, maybe at that time it's just like pausing and saying, is there something else that you could say to yourself, something else you could do to yourself that would be a little bit kinder, a little bit nicer, a little more understanding, a little bit more giving to that. So yeah, so that's what I'm thinking about for today. I hope that's helpful and satisfying and helps you orient. I know in the last couple of days, I don't know what happened. I felt just a lot of discombobulation going on inside of me, and I had to be practicing this, to practice soothing and comforting myself and just slowing down, seeing the best in people, enjoying every moment of goodness that came. And there, of course, there always are small little moments we could drink in, and just focus on those small little moments, so that those little moments actually begin to take up more space and time. So great to be with you. Thanks for being here. I know I tried to leave a note and say I was going to be on earlier, but I'm having all kinds of little technological dilemmas. Let's call it that way. And but I plan to be here on Wednesdays at noon every week. So look forward to being with you. Thanks, everybody.